Because I'm getting into this word, I'm about to mention this word for the second time, but now I want to dig into it. And it's the word that we always have heard when it comes to selling and influence. And this magic word is called, it starts with an R. Who wants to say it? It's rapport. We all know this word, rapport. In my book, this is the single most misunderstood word in the English language. What people think constitute rapport is often repulsive. It pushes people away. From this basic idea that when you walk in someone's office and if there's a fish on the wall, you're like, oh, nice fish, I love fishing. That's not rapport, just so you know. I know the expert salesman's a 9 in the head. It's not rapport, okay? It's number one, it's disingenuous. Now, listen, sometimes you get lucky, and the guy, you literally are just like the guy, and it happens. Or, there is a strong, and of course, then you're not going to ignore that. But this idea that whatever he is, I am, I'll become a freaking chameleon. A, it's disingenuous, it's B, it's unethical, and C, they could smell it out from a mile away. That is not rapport, it's repulsive. Rapport, the way you get into rapport is through certain tonalities and certain body languages, and it has to do with the way you listen to someone. When someone's talking to you, like, and it's the way you actively listen, how you engage with eye contact, from the way you shake hands to the way you dress, to your tonality, and you say, John, so tell me, what's your greatest headache right now? Not, so, John, what's your greatest headache right now? They think you're an idiot. When you say to someone, John, how are you today? Versus, John, how are you going today? One says, I care. How are you going today? I really want to know. I give a shit. Versus, hi, John, how are you today? I'm a telemarketer reading a script. And here's the thing. When I walk, and I do training, 90% of my business is corporate training. In fact, there's a company, one of my favorite companies in Australia called BioSolar. The owner is a friend of mine, a wonderful, great businessman. He's here with about 70 of his staff, or plus, okay? A round of applause. Okay, and these are people that, great company, and my business is mostly corporate business. I do these things, around the world, but typically 90% I get paid by companies that are doing $5 million a year or $5 billion. Telstra's my client. Any Telstra people here in Brisbane? There's probably some Telstra people here. They send hundreds of people to my thing, a corporate contract. So Telstra, so I do the biggest companies to the smallest companies, and companies in the middle that are growing like weeds, like BioSolar, unbelievable. It'll be the biggest solar company in Australia. The next couple is mass, unbelievable. But here's the thing, okay? When it doesn't matter whether it's on the phone or it's in person, this idea that we get into rapport with people by just pretending to be what they are is absolute bullshit. That's not rapport. That's repulsive, and it's not ethical, and you're going to get smoked out. Let me give you an example. I'm going to jump ahead here for a second because it's a funny story here. So I was, some of you guys might know I'm always getting injured because I play a lot of sports, but I tore my shoulder about 1.5 years ago, rotator cuff, right? I had surgery. Doc said, don't go back to tennis for 4 months. I said, okay, great, that means 4 weeks. So I went and had the surgery. 5 weeks later, I'm out in the tennis court. Bang, I destroy it. I rip the thing out. I have to get massive reconstructive surgery. Then I tear my knee, my ACL. It's a whole big thing. But anyway, my shoulder's still killing me. After like 18 months, I flew to Germany. I've tried everything. So I make this pact with myself. I said, I'm going to find the world's greatest shoulder doctor right here in Los Angeles. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to beat the pain. So I narrowed it down to these 2 doctors. And I walk into the first doctor, MRIs in hand, my x-rays, all this stuff, right? And I walk in, and the guy, and I'm a pretty well-known guy, right, as you can imagine in the United States. And I walk, and I get my appointment pretty quickly. And the guy looks at my thing. He's like, Okay, you're at that point where you've been pretty far down this road. You're kind of fucked, is basically what he said to me. And like he goes, I want you to go see this chiropractor. I think you just might have some muscle tenderness here. Let's see if it's not thinking. If that doesn't work, then come back to me in 60 days. I honestly wanted to punch the guy in the face, okay? I walked out, I texted my wife, I said, this guy's the biggest asshole in the world, this doctor. What an ass, okay? Next day, I had my second appointment, this guy, Dr. Joseph Horgan, and I walk into his office, and I sit down, and the nurse goes, I'm okay, I just want you to let you know your appointment's going to be 2 hours. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, another doctor, I'm going to wait here an hour and a half. 30 seconds later, they escort me into the room. The doctor sits down, and he starts asking me questions, okay? And literally, the questions start going and going and going. And I am like, oh, my. And it was the most thorough medical examination I ever got in my entire life from someone. And the guy ended up actually fixing my shoulder. But I just want you to understand that before I even left the office, before he did, I texted, I said, this is the sharpest, the most professional, the greatest doctor I've ever been to. The way he acts, that's the way the expert acts. And here's what happened. After I realized how great this guy was, and I've never had someone ask me so many questions. And as you can imagine, this is a lot that we're talking about prospecting and how do you qualify? How do you identify someone's needs? And how do you ask questions? We're going to use this story again, but I just want you to understand what happened here is that when I realized that he was the real deal, I said, let me figure out a way to ingratiate myself. Maybe I'll talk about the movie and offer him tickets to the premiere, so like he'll be my best friend, right? So he's asking me these questions, and I say, oh yeah, I'm hope this is cured soon because I got this premiere coming up, whatever. I said to transition. I said, they're making this movie, Leo DiCaprio. He's like, oh yeah, I heard about that. Congratulations. Now, as far as your shoulders go, and he right back into my. It's like, fuck. Here's the thing. I tried to go off into this spot and try to talk about something else that was common. He kept it to business. Everyone get that? That's what experts do. When you go in and start talking about the fish on the wall and off about, the price of tea in China, you're done. He knows you're not an expert. Now, I'm going to dig into this in about 5 minutes much deeper, but I want you to understand this idea that I'm just like you. It's not about you, it's not about you saying whatever he says, and you're like, oh, that really? Oh, I love that too, me too. And then that's not rapport. That's repulsive. When I talk about controlling the conversation, I'm not saying that you do all the talking by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I'm saying the opposite. When my doctor was grilling me, I was doing 90% of the talking. He'd ask a specific question, and then I would tell him my tale of woe. He'd listen, and based on that, he'd ask another question. There's a specific order he does it in. But the way you control a conversation is not by going off into Pluto or Uranus. When you do that, they got you pegged out as a novice, and you're done. So it was the front half, control the conversation. Get into rapport. Gather intelligence, move them down the straight line. Now, when I said we're going to break in 2 minutes here. When I said every sale's the same, what I really meant was this. I'm like, it's not that every client's going to say the same things. They have all different objections of those 12, whatever they might be. They all have different beliefs. They say different words to you. What I was saying is this. There are 3 core elements that must line up in every single sale before they say yes. And I don't care what the sale is. You could be selling anything, product, an idea, a concept, a service. There's 3 things that need to line up. Number 1, they must love your product. They must love your product. Meaning it could be an idea, it could be a financial product, it could be a concept, a vision for the future. They must love your product. Now, not just logically, meaning it's not just benefit, 1 + 1 = 2. It's far more than that. That's logic. They must love your product logically, yes, but they also must love your product emotionally. Meaning, when they actually imagine themselves in the future having made the buying decision, they are using the product and they're feeling good. They're getting the benefit. Their pain has been resolved. We call that future pacing. They must love your product emotionally in the future. Everyone get that, yes? Very different than logic. And you got to make both cases. Secondly, they also have to trust and connect with you as the influencer. They could love your product, but if they're not in rapport with you, they don't trust you, they don't think you're ethical, are they going to buy, yes or no? No way. So it's not enough to get someone to absolute certainty about your product. They also have to have the certainty about you. And again, it's logic, meaning that, yes, he's a good guy, he has the right credentials, he speaks nicely, but also emotionally, he's going to be there for the long term. I'm in rapport, I feel good. That's an emotional connection. Third, they must also trust and connect with the company or the brand behind the product, company or brand. All 3, and again, logically and emotionally. Imagine this one, I said this, I think I mentioned this was a continuum of certainty. 1, 10. 1 means they're completely uncertain. They freaking hate it. You say, what do you think of this product? It sucks. That's a 1. Will people buy from you? They think you're a 1? No, they're not going to buy, right? If you say, what do you think of the price? Say, oh my God, it's the greatest thing in the world. That's a 10. That's absolutely certain. The greatest thing since sliced bread. Your goal as an influencer, as you move someone down the straight line from the open to the close, here is what's going on. You're basically moving them from a place of uncertainty to absolute certainty for all three terms. I'll draw it in here. So you have the straight line. Here's your open, here's your close. You have your dotted lines above and below. Here you have Pluto up here, Uranus down here. Your two things, right? You're moving them down the line as they're going down the line. Who's ever had one of those sales? From the first second you opened up your mouth, they were right on board. They're like, oh yeah, it sounds great. And you say, well, the reason for the call, oh, I'm glad you called me today. I was looking for that. And you say, the product is this. Oh, what a lovely product it is. And it costs, oh my God, what a great price. I'll do it. Who's ever had one of those? Raise your hand. We get them. Once in a while, you get this laid down sale. The perfect straight line sale. But typically, that's not what happens. The client starts to go off the line. They go this way, they go that way, they give you objections, they talk about the price of tea in China, they talk about Tasmanian devils. So you want to keep them on the line, and you're going and building absolute certainty. They want to go off the line. As you move them down the line, you're building certainty. What you want to do is corral the 3/10s. They love your product, they trust and connect with you, trust and connect with your company, both logically and emotionally, all three. Corral those three things in a single moment in time. Corral the 3/10s in a single moment in time, and then you ask for the order, and you start to get to that point where you have a shot of closing them. Now, very often they don't buy right away because there are two other variables involved as well. But these three things, when I said every sale is the same, what I was saying is this: I don't care what objections they have. I don't care what words they say. At the end of the day, before they say yes, somehow you have to get them to the point where they love your product, logically and emotionally. They trust and connect with you, logically and emotionally. This very high, this 10, this very high level, trust and connect with the company. All of those things must line up in every sale. If one's missing, you're done. Which is why, when I was first calling people with a stock they've never heard of, from a company they've never heard of, why I couldn't close. There was too many things working against me. Those three things must line up. And when they do, and then you add on the other two components as well, you will be amazed at what starts to happen to your closing rate. It will just literally fly up when done in the right way. The straight line is a syntax. It shows you an order in which to create certainty. What do you do first? What do you do second? What do you do third?